Good morning, friends. Today I am telling you an interesting story, Thumbelina. Once upon a time, there lived a woman whose only wish was to have a child. If only I had a child, my house would be full of joy. One day, a fairy heard the woman's wish. The fairy said to the woman, "Your wish will be granted. Just take this barley corn, plant it in a pot and tend it carefully." The woman was pleased to hear this. She took the barley corn from the fairy and planted it in a pot. A few days later, a beautiful tulip bud sprang out from the corn plant. The woman was very happy and she kissed the bud. Just then the petals opened and she was amazed to see a little girl, no bigger than a thumb, inside the bud. "I will call my tiny child Thumbelina," cried out the woman with joy. The cradle of little Thumbelina was made from half the shell of a walnut, quilted with a rose petal. One day, while Thumbelina was fast asleep, an ugly toad hopped in from the window. When the toad looked at Thumbelina, she coughed. "This beautiful maiden can be a lovely bride for my son." The toad lifted the little cradle with Thumbelina, still fast asleep in it, and hopped out. The toad lived with her ugly son at the foot of the garden near a stream. When the son saw little Thumbelina, he clucked with delight. "Keep quiet, otherwise you will awoke her," she said the mother toad. Then the mother toad lifted Thumbelina from the cradle and lay her down. When Thumbelina woke up, she was frightened to see water all around her and began to weep. Just then, the sun toad popped his head out of the water and said, "You will be my bride." When Thumbelina heard this, she cried even harder. The fish popped their heads out of the water to look at the bride of the ugly toad. "She must not marry the ugly toad," said the fish to themselves. When they looked at the beautiful little Thumbelina, they began to bite the green stem of the leaf on which Thumbelina sat, and away floated the leaf carrying the little girl with it. Thumbelina floated for days and nights until she reached a cornfield. Tired and hungry, Thumbelina walked through the cornfield till she found a large tree with a small door in its trunk. The house belonged to a field mouse. Thumbelina knocked on the door. "Little girl, come in and dine with me," said the field mouse. The field mouse took a licking for Thumbelina. She said, "You can stay here if you agree to keep the house clean." Thumbelina agreed. One day the mouse said, "The rich mole is coming to visit us. Unfortunately, he is blind. If you can tell him a story, he may marry you." Thumbelina did not wish to marry the mole. However, when he came, she told him delightful stories. The mole fell in love with the voice of Thumbelina and decided to marry her. The next day, he invited Thumbelina and the field mouse to look at the tunnel that he had dug between their houses. As they were walking through the passage, Thumbelina saw a swallow lying on the ground. The swallow was fainted due to cold. Poor little swallow, thought Thumbelina. The mole kicked the bird and said it must have died of cold. But Thumbelina heard the poor bird's heart beat. She leaned down and kissed the eyes of the bird. That night, Thumbelina wove a little matting out of hay and sneaked out to see the swallow. She covered the swallow gently with it. He will soon be fine, said Thumbelina to herself. The next day, the field mouse said to Thumbelina, "You must get your wedding clothes ready." Thumbelina protested, "I don't wish to marry the mole." The mouse said, "This can't be done." Thumbelina was very sad. She went to see the swallow for the last time. She was very happily surprised to see the swallow flying about in the passage. When the swallow saw Thumbelina, he cried out with joy, "Thank you, Thumbelina. Come with me, little Thumbelina, to the blue skies," cried the swallow. "I will not marry the mole. I will fly with you," said Thumbelina. She sat on the swallow's back, and the bird, along with Thumbelina, soared high in the air. After a long flight, the swallow gently placed Thumbelina on one of the beautiful flowers that had bloomed in the garden. Thumbelina was surprised to see a little prince sitting at the center of the flower. He was the king of the flowers. He was instantly charmed by Thumbelina's beauty and asked her, "Will you be my queen, little Thumbelina? Will you marry me?" Thumbelina was very happy. She agreed to the proposal. On the wedding day, the swallow sang the sweetest bridal songs for Thumbelina. How nice the sweet story is, friends. If you are enjoying my channel, please like, share, comments and subscribe. Please don't forget to click the bell button. Bye bye, friends.